I'm back.
You're back. I'm fucking glad.
I
I was
was
going crazy.
I was gone for a minute.
Yep.
And if you don't know, I was just at VidCon. If you don't know what VidCon is, it was different this year. It felt like Disneyland, but it was it's a creator conference convention. Very cosplay now, and not
Very
my
young Gen Z focus
yeah,
too.
not my vibe. Not my vibe. I don't think I'll be returning. I was there for work. I was not there as a creator. While I got to see many creators and some of them even make some connections with and have lunch with and network and all of the things. There's some great inspiring things that came out of it for myself personally. But I will say, just from an overall like mental stable like what I'm looking for in life, VidCon was not it for me.
Yeah.
It was not it. And I think a lot of people were actually disappointed with the vibe this year compared to the last few years. But anyways, that's where I was. So I was gone for what, how many days? Five?
Four days.
I was gone for 4 days, and you were on your own with all of the kids.
Yeah, so if you see me out in public and I'm short fused, just know that's why.
It's hot. It's been in the 97, 98 degrees out
Yesterday
here.
it hit like 101.
And if you don't know, we don't have air conditioning in our house. So I was literally just sitting at my desk and like the sweat was rolling down my arm.
Yeah.
Just sitting still. That's how hot it is. There's a nice breeze though, so I'll take that. And
we're very blessed because we live next to a lot of water sources.
Yeah,
so yesterday we packed up and went to Elkhart Lake and jumped right in.
I feel like at first when I was like, we're swimming in the lake, and you were like, yeah?
Well, because I was like, I feel like I just need to jump in a lake right now, and you were like, let's go. And I was like, wait, really?
Yeah, I think I think as like parents and like you plan all the things for the kids, and then you kind of sit back and like we do typically like sit back and we like observe and make sure everybody's taken care of and safe, and like we kind of just like man our spot like wherever we're like
the station,
right, where like with the drinks and the snacks and the towels and all of the shit, and we just sit and like lounge and talk. While that's great, there's something really nice about being a kid, or just being not even a kid, free spirited, and just like running into the water, jumping in. And we played like some football, and I thought you were going to do like chicken for a minute because you had Maddox on your shoulders.
I tried, but that was rough.
You know, just like flipping the kids around in the water and just having a good time. And we were able to cool down, and that was nice. And so just need to like take more of those moments where it's like, let's go run and jump off a cliff into the water, or like just, I don't know, live a little, right? Yep. Live a little in this heat. And we wait for it. In Wisconsin, it's like so cold and dreary. And then it's like, holy shit, it's hot outside. What is life?
I think for me, the transition is much harsher than Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado had at least, like, you knew it was getting hot, and it was hotter and hotter, and then it was like, oh, fuck, it's hot. Here it's like cold. Like cold as fuck. And then it's rainy for like a hot second.
And then it's just like, damn, when is it gonna warm up? Fireballs.
And then you wake up one day and you're just like in fucking hell. And it's like, what is this heat?
Send us some cold air, please.
Yeah. But today we're going to talk briefly about a topic we've been kind of like tossing around for a while now. This is nothing new.
We've talked about this topic before. It is like one of the discords that's trending on TikTok right now about just labels in the LGBTQIA plus community, and more so it's focused on can trans men identify as lesbians? And there are all types of opinions on this, which is very interesting. So it's been something I've kind of been tuning into a little bit more, because I often get questioned, how can I identify as a non-binary lesbian? And people seem to either disagree or just not quite understand it. And so I want to dive into it and just have some like back and forth conversation. While we're not like experts in this area, we'll give you our honest opinions and thoughts behind it.
Yeah. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with not understanding it. I do want to throw that out there, because there's a lot of things that I still don't understand. And there was a lot of my life that I lived where I didn't understand a lot of the things that I do now. And I think time and knowledge is required in order to open your brain in a way that allows you to understand new and different things. So I think for me, it's the people that don't care to understand. They don't care to give it the time to even try. And the people that shut it out without trying, or
Mm-hmm.
without being, what's the word I'm looking for? Not sympathetic, but just like
Open-minded.
nice. Yeah.
Open-minded. Just being
Yeah.
like open-minded,
Considerate,
not
respectable,
like closed
or
off. And I
yeah.
think that sadly what I'm seeing in this topic is the younger generation, 25 and under, really speaking out and saying like no to certain things, like I don't agree with this. And they haven't, not to discredit the younger gen, but like you didn't put in the work. Like people who have been identifying a certain way
Mm-hmm.
for years before you were even here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been countless times that people have even questioned it from me, like, well, two different ways. One, how are you calling them your wife if they're non-binary and you guys aren't married? And I'm like, well, because that's what
Because
I
we
choose
are.
to fucking
Because
call
we
them, I guess.
are.
And yeah, I think as a member of the community and being somewhat still like a newer member, I suppose, compared to some, um, I've learned really quickly that labels are just, I wish they didn't exist. They're nice sometimes because you can walk around and say that you're non-binary, and it's an easy way for people to understand how you're feeling or how you identify. However, then it allows them to have this idea that puts you in a very like specific area depending on what you're identifying as. And that's, I think, where the problems start, is that I say I'm a lesbian, and then people are like, well, then you must be with a woman. You must like womanly women, or whatever it is that their brain goes to. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how to put
It's
make it
it's a
easy for
it's
you,
like
but
a
also,
it's a cocktail mix. It's like, for me, it's labels are nice because it helps people quickly. It'd be like if you had a bumper sticker on your car that let me know that you were a dog lover versus a cat lover or something. I'm trying to like simplify it here, right? And it's like, I don't know, it's like simple things. A vegetarian versus a pescatarian or
right.
something, right? Like what they like to eat.
I know
Sorry,
what I like to eat.
my mind just went like it dove.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I think for me is like, while labels are very important to help share your personal identity, um, there's so many layers, but it can also get very restrictive and hold you back from your journey. Because while at one point, maybe I had, like, you've been watching my journey openly on social, on the podcast, and me sharing in the beginning when I was she, her, she, they, them. Like, I as I continue to grow and learn more about myself, like, things do change and identities change and labels change. And like at the end of the day, like, you're just like digging a little bit deeper to that core of like who you really are. And while if it doesn't make sense to the outside world, to the average person, that's okay,
It
because
just
it's
doesn't.
a self
Yeah,
identity.
it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. I could wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm he, him. All you guys need to call me he, him. And out of respect, fucking call me he, him.
Yeah.
Do I
Well,
look like a dude? No, but call me
there
he,
was
him.
there was a couple people I met this past week in California that were he, she, and went by both, and
Right. Okay. So
more,
just like
very much more
nothing,
gender
basically.
fluid, like
Yeah.
just like that
Yeah.
fluidity of just like, I'm sometimes
I've seen a
I'm
lot of
sometimes
creators like
she.
that where it's like literally all labels. Call me whatever.
Yeah.
Call me whatever
Yep.
pronouns. I don't care, because
Just don't call me late to dinner.
that's how much they don't give a fuck. And
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
I like that vibe where like you can't fuck up, because honestly it doesn't fucking matter.
It
just
doesn't.
doesn't matter.
Because also, like, okay, like if you're a religious person and your identity is whatever God you pray to, believe in, all of that, your faith, like, people can't see that. It'd be the same thing. I walk into a restaurant, people, like, the hostess does not know my preferred pronouns. They do not have to understand that. If I was a religious person walking into a restaurant, they're not going to know my religious beliefs and my faith, because it is a personal, internal identity and a connection that's not on the surface level for anybody to understand.
Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I guess kind of on the flip side, not necessarily an argument, but the way that you're wording it, where it's like nobody else has to understand, I think that's part of it, that like the people that are, and I'm guilty of this myself, they get upset about mislabels, like when
Mm-hmm.
people mislabel
Mm-hmm.
you or misgender you. I guess
I
if you could
think
get to a point where you're like, they don't have to
I
understand, it doesn't
think
matter, like maybe then you just don't need, like,
I
at
think that
what
is
point do you,
I think that is it comes with self-growth, and that is a personal insecurity. If you strip away the insecurities and you don't you're not caught up in how other people see you, it is not, I promise you this. It is not, while yes, I have said when people misgender me or I hear she, her, and it feels like a needle or a thorn poking at me, that is something I had to personally work through on my own and get past to
but
where
I
I don't
think,
have the insecurities of I need everybody else to know who I am so I know who I am. Now my point is there needs to be visibility. We need visibility in the community so when people like me who were called a tomboy their whole entire life, while that was normal to say in the 80s and in the 90s, oh, they're a tomboy, they're a tomboy, they're a tomboy. But then when I speak out loud to my family and I say, I don't feel like I'm a girl, and then they're all like scratching their head and wondering what the fuck is wrong with me. And I'm like, my whole fucking existence, you called me a tomboy. Do you understand that? And so, like, I had to go do the work to get to the place to where I say, like, my self identity is an internal thing with myself.
yeah, yep.
But visibility, conversation around this is important. But at the end of the day, if you say that you are something, that's enough for me. Like
Yeah.
if you say I am a trans man and I am a lesbian and that's how you want to be seen, then I see you that way.
The way that I see it as I get older, and I told you this yesterday, is that I'm just getting to a point where if it's not hurting me or the people I love directly, I literally could not give a fuck less about what
Mm-hmm.
you want to do, how
Mm-hmm.
you want to identify, who you want to love, how you want to love, where you want to. I don't care. I
Mm-hmm.
literally do not care. Don't come at me sideways. Don't hurt the people I love, and we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, identify however you want to identify. I think a lot of people are not going to understand, and that's just the way that our, like, we're not wired to understand everything right away, but we don't have to either.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put in the time and effort to try to open your ability to comprehend things that are unknown, but if you choose not to, fine, just be respectful and walk away, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. Like, I don't know. And I think that's my biggest thing is, and part of why I kind of fucking hate social media so much lately, is that everybody just feels like they have to say so much negatively towards someone else if it doesn't fall hand in hand with what they believe or what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part of it that's like, share your opinion, share your story, share all of the things about yourself, and even maybe some things that could be like controversial. Fine, like say what you need to
Mm-hmm.
say, but don't go and like dog on someone else because it's not in the exact
Mm-hmm.
alignment that you're at.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so like the big back and forth is people saying if you are claiming to identify as a trans man lesbian, um, that you are taking away the validation of a trans man being a man. And while I just think like you have to look at it from the individual, if you have an individual saying I'm a trans man, I want to be looked at as a straight man, then I see you as a straight man. If that's what you, if that is how you are saying you want to be seen, then that's how I will see you. If I have somebody who's saying I'm a trans man and I see myself as a lesbian, they have existed forever too. Like, go back and do your research. Like, this is queer history. So, like, go back and do your research and understand trans men lesbians have existed just like non-binary lesbians have always existed. I'm here, I'm existing, I'm right in front of you, and I'm saying this is who I am, I'm existing. So yes, non-binary lesbians exist. If somebody, now I do find it interesting when you start to look at it as like nobody's talking about trans women. And it's almost like this, like, it's this constant, like, redirect back to men to be like it's cut different.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's so many layers to it that I could, and then like I do want to unpack all of it, and do my research and understand all the different angles. But for me, at the end of the day, if you want to be seen a certain way, I will see you that way.
Yeah.
And if you decide to be seen a different way, and the next year, as you continue to learn more about yourself and grow on your journey, I will see you however you want to be seen, because that's the respectful thing to do. Who am I to say that you are one or the other? I just think it's interesting, this angle of, well, you know, a trans man lesbian cannot exist because now you're saying you're a woman, even though you're saying you're a man.
See, but oh, yeah.
Let's get into it.
I think that there's a lot. I want to understand more, and I feel like there's a lot of things that I could continue to educate myself on. However, I do think there is a gray area, because we do have labels, right? We have these labels that we've stuck to for, like we just looked at, centuries, since like the 1940s. We've been labeling certain people certain ways, and within those labels there is a description of what that means. Okay, so to be a trans man, fine, whatever, you've transitioned into a man. You saying that it's taking away from them being a man, that's not where my brain went. My brain went to, it's taking away from what it means to be a lesbian. And that's the part that's a gray area to me, because to be queer, fine. You're putting yourself in a very large category. A queer trans man, awesome, great. You could still be with a woman and maybe to yourself feel like, well, I have woman parts, so maybe I'm whatever. But a lesbian is labeled, according to labels, a very specific way. And if you are openly transitioning from female to male, and maybe even going through with like bottom surgery and all of the different things, you get into a gray area that doesn't really put you into a specific category. Me personally, I don't care. Call yourself and do whatever you need to do it. I'm fine. I respect it. But I can understand why people are confused about it. I can, because lesbians are women loving women. That's how it's been forever. Non-binary, I think, does fit into that category, because you don't identify with either. But for someone to fight the fight to go from female to male and be so open and proud that you're a trans man, you're not a trans non-binary at that point. You're a trans man. You're openly claiming to be a man, putting yourself in the male category. And technically, according to labels, you can't be a lesbian if you're a fucking man. So, like, where is the,
Yeah,
I see both sides
and that's the uproar online right now, where people are like,
but that's
you can't be this, you can be this.
I'm not going to get online and tell anybody that they're doing anything wrong. That's not my place.
Yeah, and then then you slice it another way, and it's like, well, no, you can't be a lesbian if you're a trans man, but if you're a trans mask, then you can be a lesbian. And it's just like, it starts to get so silly to me, because it's like, humans are humans. We're all really fucking interesting people. Like, get to know the person, and like, fuck the labels. While yes, labels help us, they're hurting us. They're hurting us. They're hurting the community. This is toxic for the community.
That I'm a part of the community, I would get rid of labels completely if I could.
Yeah,
I think completely.
So it's interesting, because, so first of all, I've been struggling a little bit about like what I want to start to offer up on my TikTok platform, the topics I want to talk about. There's so much going on in the world right now, and the climate for me is just, I'm unsure where I need to focus my attention to my audience, right? And my followers and people that look up to me. I would like to take a bigger step into talking more about being non-binary and what that means to me, because there are a lot of layers where I still lean into my womanhood, because I cannot deny that. I am not altering, other than a top surgery, I am not altering any of my female anatomy. And the fact that I am a mother, the fact that I did breastfeed, have 3 babies, do the pregnancy, all of the things, there are certain qualities about myself that I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm so proud of
can I ask you a
myself.
question? Do you think at some point, and there's no right or wrong answer to this, but going back to getting to a point where like, call me whatever you will, I don't care,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have any pronouns, I'm all pronouns. Do you think there could ever be a day that you could get to that point where you're so comfortable that hearing someone say she, her to you wouldn't feel like that needle poke anymore because you're just so disconnected from all of it?
I think so. I think this past year or so has been like me leaning the hardest into they them and really holding that close to me as far as like how I want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Um but there are instances when we're out in public and we're, like I've said before, we're going into a restaurant, we're getting seated at a table, and they're like, right this way, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
That does not hurt me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
expect anybody to understand me, to know my gender, to know my pronouns, any of that. And you're a lesbian and you want to be seen as a lesbian. And while, yes, I feel like I still identify as a lesbian, I feel like I'm starting to just like let it all kind of just be whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, because I have my person. I'm happy. I'm content. I am confident in myself to know who I am on the inside. And I don't need to like have some like bio description of like to each person I meet. Now I will introduce myself. Hi, my name is Kirby, they, them,
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat. And I think people should if they want to, if
Mm-hmm.
that's important to them. Some people
Don't care.
don't
Yeah.
care, don't want any pronouns. As I get older, let's just say like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, am I going to feel the same? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I know I'm getting further and further away from the binary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel connected to any of it, but I still respect the moments that got me to where I am today. And my womanhood got me pretty far in life for 40 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
My womanhood was raising kids, taking care, having babies, breastfeeding, motherly nurturing, like
Mm-hmm.
all of the qualities that come with that. And those are things that have made me and shaped me of who I am today.
Yeah.
And um while I never felt connected to certain things, like I talk about not being connected to my breast,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like calling them that. Last night when it was so hot in the bedroom and we're laying in bed and I'm sleeping without a shirt on,
Mm-hmm.
I kept a little pillow in front of me, and there's a reason for that. Like I don't even like them exposed. Like I want them gone. Like I don't feel connected to that.
Yeah.
But um there are other things that I still feel connected to and I'm okay with, and I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
But like going back to my outlook on things is just, do I want to visibility is so important. Do I want to keep I'm not looking to battle anybody. I'm not looking to debate, because everybody's story is different. You don't know what's underneath. Like just like get past the outer shell. But I do want to start to bring these topics forward, just to think about, just to
Mm-hmm.
understand the next time. Don't think you know somebody. Don't think that you have it all figured out. Continue to learn and understand. I don't understand furries. I really don't. I don't understand furries.
Someday I'm gonna get a furry costume, and you're gonna come home
Okay,
from work, and I'm gonna be like,
I might like it.
baby.
I don't know, but like they still exist.
I'm gonna be like,
They're
look at
still
this
walking
tail.
around in areas and spaces, and
They're happy. They're living their life. I think that's the point in which everybody needs to get to, is just live your own life and be happy with where you're at. And as long as, I think, once people get to a point where they're the happiest that they've ever been and they're focusing on themselves and the people that they love and care about, it's almost hard to give a shit about what other people are doing.
Yep.
So if you're more worried about what the trans man that lives across the country is identifying as, you're not doing something right. You're not living your life to the extremity in which you should be. You're worried more about somebody who you will never fucking meet a day in your life. So like dig within and find out what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, and like
And
let go of the insecurities and learn about yourself and like stand by that. And if it changes, it changes, because like
mhm.
self growth is a beautiful thing and you should strive to evolve and go deeper to your core and understand yourself more. And I think as the world just continues to surprise us, and with like AI and like everybody kept asking me like, have you been in those self-driving cars? And I'm like, the fuck no,
No.
like not in like Plymouth,
I'm not
Wisconsin.
sure you could pay me to get in
No.
one of those.
Court was talking about it. She's like, oh yeah, they're actually pretty cool, and I've seen some videos of people. But like, how far before like okay, like robots, right? Like, what if like all of a sudden people are choosing not to even be with humans, but they're being with like other types of like, you have no idea what direction aliens and all of the things, and whether you believe in it or not. But
I
like,
mean, there are people already having strong relations with machines
that's what I'm
that I know
saying.
that I know personally.
That's what I'm saying. It's like humans are loving humans, but what happens when it's like humans loving robots, or humans loving this or that, or like
I don't know.
there's so much shit that I'm not even tapped into that's going on right now, and I'm just like, y'all, I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for letting me in.
Dead
This is how
ass.
I feel. I don't expect you to understand it or wrap your head around it, but if I say I'm this, then like that's who I
Yeah,
am.
so if you see her content shift to a lot of like this type of stuff, you know why. I think we should end this on a high note and tell them about the article that I wrote and what happened with
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Set it up.
I want to hear how
set
you
it up.
tell somebody.
Okay, well, so we were recently featured in our local Sheboygan, Wisconsin press for Pride Month. We were the first of a series of sharing our journey and story of what it means to us to be in the community.
Yeah.
And funny thing was Ember we got the email.
I got it late. She sent it out late, and then I didn't see it until 2 days later, which was the day that they were cutting off applications.
Yep. And so Ember quickly responded and was like, are we too late for this? And she's like, no, actually, like I haven't submitted it yet. Like you have like
send it right now.
Like send it now.
Yeah.
And so I was in the middle of working, so I was kind of head down on my day job. But Ember stepped outside, and if you don't know, Ember is a very, very talented person of many, many things, and writing is one of them. You have a way of storytelling. That's why your content pops off when you do storytelling, and when you're writing, it is done with grace, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So you wrote from your heart. You quickly shared it with me and said, are you okay with this?
You didn't even know I was writing it.
I had no idea. I had no idea. And you were like, we need a photo. I was like, oh, what about the one we took while going to Pride? We had our like some colors on representing like non-binary and lesbian. And so it was published, and
it was the first one published and will be republished again on the 25th.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I didn't realize that. But we didn't even know, like we had no idea. We sent it, bless and release kind of situation. Like,
and then we had people start sending it back to us, and we were like, no fucking way.
We like read it, and it was just like, yeah, I got a little emotional, teary-eyed, because I'm like, so many things. Like right now, my name change is legally running in the paper each week. This will be the last week that it runs in the paper, because it has to run for the 3 weeks. So while I have my name change running through, we have this article, and it just feels good to be able to share our story, whether anybody agrees with it or not. People might look at us and be so disgusted. How could we divorce our husbands and blend our family and move across the country and do all the things? You know how we did it? Bravery. That's how we did it. And that's all you need to know, is it took a lot of courage, a lot of bravery. And
if your heart is telling you to do something, just follow it.
Yeah. So I thought the article, we'll link it in this video.
Yeah.
If you're interested in reading it, the article was beautifully written. The picture is gorgeous. It's not even a professional photo. It was from our waiter.
It was at breakfast that morning.
At breakfast.
We were trying to take it ourselves, and he was like, you want some help? We were like,
yeah. But yeah, it's we're still, we're focused on helping whoever feels drawn to it, right? I don't have a specific target, but typically it is more people who identify later in life coming out. Their journey took a little bit longer. While you're not late, you're right where you're supposed to be. You did have to go through a little bit more soul searching, and it took a little bit more bravery because there were a lot of hurdles you had to make to get to where you are today. And so, yeah, I think showing up, being who you think and feel, and if others can just see you that way, stick with those people and don't get distracted by all the noise and trying to prove to somebody that you are who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Strip away all those insecurities, because that does show insecurity. Know who you are, because that's what's on the inside. And if you feel a certain way today, then that's great. If you feel differently a month later, a year later, there was a time in my life where I said, I'm not a lesbian. I am not coming out. I will not do this. I will not flip my world upside down. And look at me today. I feel so confident in saying that I picked my heart and I'm living my most truest, authentic life for myself, not for anybody else. If you do not want to see me as a non-binary lesbian, that's okay. See me as Kirby. I'm fine with that too. If it doesn't make sense to you, just see me as Kirby, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for like making time for shit, and like we're busy. It's a lot. And you still show up and you're like, here's this amazing, like people even at work were coming up to me and they were like, that was really well written and that was a great article. I was like, yo, I cannot take credit. Like, that was my wifey.
Someday we'll write a book.
Oh my God, we're writing something right now. This is like in the making. We're sharing our story as best as we can with you guys every week. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, be who you want to be, love who you want to love.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to wear a furry tail, wear a furry tail. If you want to get fucked by a machine, get fucked by a machine. If you want to transition medically, but do your research. If you want to identify as a trans man, but you never want to actually medically transition and alter your assigned birth anatomy, just don't identify who you want. Like, just be you.
Yeah. Just be good people.
Yeah.
Just be good people.
Be good people. Don't gatekeep. Don't tell somebody else what their story is. Don't tell somebody else what you think their identity is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's so many other battles you should be fighting right now in this fucking climate that we're in right now. Facts. With the worst president of the fucking world. Like, focus on that.
Not only the worst, but the second worst as well, y'all.
When you said that to me, like when you say, what was it? It was...
Trump was informed that he was, according to history, in the last 80 years, the worst president that we have ever had. And his question in response was, well, who was the second worst? And they said, your first term. You were not only the worst right now, you were the second worst last time you were here. So he holds the top two rankings for worst president and second worst president. So
yeah, we got that. We got that going for us. Anyways, we hope you guys have a good week and just keep being you.
Yeah.